Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at this 2021 Lexus IS350 F Sport all-wheel drive. This is still the third generation of the IS, even though this vehicle got a pretty significant update for 2021. The current generation, it's the third generation IS, came out for the 2014 model year. It did receive a slight facelift a few years back, and now for 2021, rather than fully redesign this thing, Lexus has just heavily reskinned it. They've updated the exterior styling, they've updated the interior. It now has a passable infotainment system, and they've tweaked some things with regard to the suspension. As a quip, this one is about $56,000. Let's do a little tour of it and then take it for a drive. So even though this thing has been heavily restyled, it's still immediately recognizable as an IS. You'll notice up front here, it's still got that checkmark lighting signature. This is an F Sport model with the dynamic handling package. It comes with these 19-inch BBS wheels. My favorite part is that they're actually a matte black finish. You don't see too many matte wheel finishes. Here's your F Sport emblem. Moving down the side, this thing's a gunmetal gray. You've got black mirror caps, although there is still some chrome around the windows. Around back, styling has been changed somewhat significantly. You'll see that the taillights now connect at the middle here. Here's your badging, so it says F Sport once again on the trunk lid. There's your Lexus badge, and then IS350 all-wheel drive. This one does come with a carbon fiber rear lip spoiler. It's kind of unique, but that is real carbon fiber. You can see it there in the sun. Take a look inside the trunk. And it's actually a surprisingly big trunk. It's packaged pretty efficiently. There aren't a lot of intrusions coming into the cargo area. It can't be said for all vehicles. Some vehicles you open the trunk and you're like, boy, it's big on the outside, but then there's not a lot of space inside. The IS though, boy, there's almost more space inside than you'd think. You get 4 tie-down points here. Nothing else really. We're gonna turn this on immediately because it's very hot outside. All right, here is the window sticker. So this is a 2021 Lexus IS350 all-wheel drive sedan. That exterior color is called Sonic Chrome. And as equipped, this one actually comes in at just under $57,000 when you include that $1,025 destination fee. But this one has the 3.5 liter V6. That's why it's an IS350 for 3.5 liters. It makes 311 horsepower and 280 pounds-feet of torque, and it is paired with a regular old 8-speed automatic transmission. The other interesting thing about this one is that it comes with the F Sport dynamic handling package. That costs $3,800, and it comes with those 19-inch matte black BBS wheels, drive mode select with Sport S and Sport S Plus modes. I don't know why they don't just call them Sport and Sport S, but anyway, there's also a custom mode. It has adaptive variable suspension, ash heated wood trimmed steering wheel and interior trim, a smart access card key, which they did not give me for this one, and then that carbon fiber rear spoiler. Fuel economy is 19 city, 26 highway, and 22 combined. I attribute those rather underwhelming numbers to the rather old powertrain. As for the updates though, the biggest one has to do with the infotainment system. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I find this infotainment system to be the worst infotainment system in the entire auto industry. But Lexus gets a pass now because they've made this a touchscreen. The interface still isn't great. Like, there's not a way to immediately get out of that screen. But anyway, you bring up the menu and you can press any of these now. So you go audio, go back, takes us to the map. Yeah, so it's still not the best. There's the navigation screen. You can search, you can type things in. And there you go. So you've still got this touchpad here, which I guess the buttons help. They help to bring you back to the home screen. But if I own this vehicle, I would probably never use this touchpad now just because it's bad. But luckily, you've got a touchscreen. So that's a big improvement. Beyond that, you've got a slightly different dashboard. I like these air vents. They feel really nice. Can move them around pretty generous range of movement there. Steering wheel, as usual, is kind of cool. It has a very race car feel to it. So you've got paddle shifters there. The Lexus badge is kind of a gunmetal color. And then now this is all black. Previously, they had some different materials on the wheel. Now it's just black, at least it is in this one. And I like it. Like I said, there is a wood finish on the steering wheel and it is heated. You've also got heated and ventilated seats. Here's your gear lever, pretty simple. There's drive, put it into reverse. There's a look at the backup camera. Toyota and Lexus's backup cameras aren't the best quality, but this one at least has a 360-degree top-down view, which is nice. Go back into park. One other thing that stands out to me about this interior, well, two things, I guess. You've got a slider for the temperature. And then I've always really liked these knobs. They probably look silver, but they're almost a pearl white. They kind of give the impression of being carved out of like granite or marble. It's a really interesting texture. And throughout this whole interior, this is the only use of this material. Yeah, it's a really great knob there. Here's your drive mode selections. So like I said, Eco, Normal, Custom, and then Sport S and Sport S Plus. There's a snow mode, turns off traction control, and then an auto hold mode for the parking brake. I think that about covers the front seat. Let's hop in the rear. All right, I'm about 5'11", and I'm sitting behind myself, and you can see I've got enough room, about an index finger worth of length. There's a pretty tall, wow, there's a really tall hump right here. It comes up to about there on my leg. Air vents back here. There's a light, no panoramic sunroof, just a traditional sunroof in the IS, and then armrest with, there we go, some cup holders, and yeah, that's about it for the third row. This thing still feels largely the same. It has the same smell when you sit down. A lot of these features and materials and buttons and things are familiar because, you know, they've been in use in this thing since it was last redesigned for 2014. There's 50, so it's not the fastest. 311 horsepower is about par for the course, although a lot of this vehicle's competitors have moved to turbocharged 4-cylinder engines as opposed to regular old naturally aspirated V6s. I did like the way this vehicle accelerated. There was no turbo lag because there's not a turbocharger. It was very linear and it just had a very pure feel to it. So the powertrain is very smooth. It's just not super efficient. I mean, you can do better than 22 mpg combined in this segment without really having to sacrifice with regard to power. This touchscreen infotainment system makes a big difference. To be honest, Lexus's infotainment system in the past would have disqualified any Lexus vehicles for me just because it was so frustrating to use. Now that they've started making it a touchscreen, I can give them a pass for this clunky touchpad on the center console here because I can just ignore it. I can just ignore it altogether for the most part. Here's our first speed bump. We're going about 20 miles per hour. Yeah, it felt smooth. The car is really quiet. It does feel like a luxury car. Everything feels really substantial. 22 miles per hour. Yeah, pretty smooth over that one. Steering wheel feels nice. Like I said, I like the design. I have to think it was inspired by the LFA. It has a very performance car feel to it. Third speed bump, we're going about 25. Just kidding, we went about 19, and the car felt good. One thing I don't like is this turn signal stock. I'm surprised they didn't change this with this update, but the turn signal stock in the IS resets back to center. So normal turn signal stock, you want to turn right, you click it up, it stays there, you take your hand off it, you complete your right turn, and as you're turning the wheel back to center, the turn signal clicks off. In this one, the stock immediately goes back to center. Here, I think I can just demonstrate it here since I think you can see it. So you press it up and then right turn signal comes on, but the stock immediately goes back to center. It's really weird. If you were driving this car daily and it was your only vehicle, I think you'd probably get used to it, but For the first time, it's really bizarre, and I don't really see the benefit. Maybe Lexus wanted to get rid of that clicking noise that comes when you straighten the wheel back out. I don't know, but it seems like a solution to a problem that didn't exist. Anyway, though, that's really probably my biggest criticism of this thing. So there is your look at the 2021 Lexus IS. I think it's interesting that Lexus chose to facelift this vehicle for a second time rather than give it a full redesign. To me, that makes it seem like they may be wondering about the viability of this platform long-term and of this segment in their long-term business plans. Had they seen a lot of upside in the compact performance sedan space, I think they probably would have redesigned this vehicle from the platform up. But given that people are moving toward SUVs, given that the market is moving toward electric vehicles, I have to wonder if they may not be planning on investing in this type of platform going forward. I think this facelift is the first sign that that might be the case. Anyway, though, as for the facelift itself, it has addressed a key problem area of this vehicle, and that is the infotainment system. In the past, I would have ruled out a Lexus product just based on that infotainment system. But now that it's a touchscreen, I can give Lexus a pass. It's a pretty familiar infotainment system out of many Toyota products. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. That said, Lexus did just roll out an all-new infotainment system with the next generation NX, which again, the fact that this vehicle didn't get that new infotainment system tells me that they may not have it in their long-term plans. Anyway, though, this infotainment system is fine. It no longer disqualifies the vehicle for me. And with that issue out of the way, what you're left with is a pretty competent, really well-built, pretty attractive, compact luxury sedan from an automaker that has a reputation for offering great reliability and really good resale value. And yeah, that earns a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.